Okay. So, we're going live, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I won the Fanboy3 Star Regional with Galactic. Now, granted, I am not a black player. I don't really like Galactic, but that is like super fucking broken. Okay, my bad. So I swore in the first 30 seconds. Demonetized. So the reason why I chose Galactic was because at first it was kind of frustrating to play against, and I was like, wait a second, if I'm constantly losing to this deck, there's something here that has to be like objectively very good, and it is. The only like true downside of playing Galactic is that you have a horrible matchup into Maggie, so you kind of have to dodge it. So the previous weekend I placed top 8 and I lost to Exa and I drew against Maggie. This weekend I did not get to play against Maggie, which was great, but I played arguably harder matchups. One of the things that sucks about Galactic is like decks that go wide. So bad matchups are things like Maggie and decks that go like really wide or have like lots of intercept protection. But everything else in the format you're about even, or you have like a very hard winning matchup. Also, this list is not mine. I'm pretty sure that Infinity or Alex, I think it's like Alexander Chambers is going to do like a 2-hour movie on Galactic. I'm basically giving you the quick and dirty on like how to start clapping people at locals if you have money. If you're broke, you cannot play this deck because you need this guy. I am broke, but my friends are not, so I just stole theirs. Okay, we had 2 playsets. Sick. Shout outs to Tommy and T for donating his core to Kai, and Kai had their core, so I took the spare core. You don't need to be rich, you just need to have friends. So we'll go over the deck in order. There's not a ton of cards to go because your deck is like 20 of the same card, but we'll go over what the cards actually do really quick. So we have this guy. He's your recursion, and the reason why you only need 3 is because you don't really want to see him until like the mid game into a grindy matchup, because his ability to add back pieces is very good, but also he discards. So you can discard and then choose not to get anything back, and you just go +1 in grave. The reason why putting cards in grave is really good, or trash rather, is because you need 4 to activate Ragnarok. Then we play, I'm pretty sure I play, there we go. We play 4 of the Searcher. So a quick thing with the Searcher and the add back is that their inherits are applicable for the level 4. So if you load them off of your Veemon that you can get 1,000,000 copies of, you get to go into a level 4 for cost of 2, which can sometimes matter. But yeah, 4 of the Searcher gets a card and then loads 1. You can load under anything, so a lot of times if you have like a Galactic and you just need to feed it 1 more source, you can just play this. It searches for anything you need, so the card's pretty good. Like, it's a Searcher, it loads, and it's a reduction. This is the main engine requirement, and we play, I believe, 12. There are people online that say, oh, you don't need to play this many. You do. You really need to play this many Veemons, and even, I believe I'm on, so 12, 16, 19. 19 is okay, it's a good number, but the reason why you need so many is because there are matchups where you need to make a Galactic with 8 Veemons, because you need double protection. So if you don't play that many, you don't get to do that, and like this is your main currency, this is what gets the deck going. This basically searches for everything that isn't a Ragnarok or a Zenith by suspending and then doing the effect. But it's what I'm saying, where like you can do this, load this, and then you can now evolve for cheaper. Yeah, pretty good. Typically, like if you don't have the Tamer, you put 1 in the back, 1 in the front, and then on your promoter you're seeing 6 cards from the top of your deck, which is like insane. This is by far the most consistent tournament deck I've ever played. It's just like your turn 1 plays are just like so good, and you just see like your full deck. So you get to tailor your end board to what you need. And by end board I mean which destro you're gonna go into. That's really all you have to choose, is which destro. So onto the level 4s, we only play 8. We play 4 of the Digicrosser and 4 of the Searcher. So shout out to D and Champ. We basically he basically came to the conclusion that it feels like the support was designed around 2 things, and as a result the deck is like really broken because these cards like don't feel like they do the same thing, but you basically just have incredible toolboxing. So this is your recovery card. Typically on an empty board, say digicross with this, using guys in your trash, so you digicross for 2, which is why having memory is really important. And we'll talk about memory when we go over to the Tamers. And then it gets you the unsuspend block when you shuffle. So that effect only comes up in, like, for the OTK if you have the Tamer, but a lot of the times, like, you're just using that as, like, a deterrent for your opponent. But a lot of times people won't contest it. This card is, like, really insane. You now have another really good passive play, as well as, like, it's on play. So in situations where you're bricked or you have a lot of memory, it's pretty good. But being able, the main thing that this does is it puts 2 Veemons under a source. So it makes this 5 so you go on top of cheaper, or it reloads your Galacti. So knowing when to put it under him or when to refeed your Galacti is really important. And that's basically like what that comes down to, is like knowing like do I start making the second stack or do I stick with the first stack. There's a couple of other cute things that you can do, like this can evolve for 3 and then you pick up 2, but typically digicrossing is better. And then with this, the ESS actually matters a lot. So one of the things that's really important, especially against the Megidra matchup, is that the ESS is not interruptive, but the protection is. So if they try to blow you up, you can go shuffle to protect, they resolve their on deletions, and once everything has been resolved, you now have the effect to delete a play cost of 4 less, so you can catch one of the rush Digimons. It's a small thing that you can do, but it might matter into like an already losing matchup. Overall, these cards are great. I would not play any less of these. Like, this is like, you do not want to play less of these. The only thing you could maybe play is the BT21 Slash to get back Fusion Eyes, but the card is okay in the grind game, but like if you don't want to grind, you just want to like win sort of quickly, which is sort of counterintuitive to like a defensive deck. But the card is good, but because it's very like rigid in an already like kind of rigid deck, I'd rather just play like the good cards. So now, before we go into the options, let's talk about the mini spaceships. We play. This is the ratio. So I learned last week that this can evolve on Veemon for 6, which doesn't really come up, but can come up. Just a little something. So this is like the most unfair card in the deck. It's just so unbelievably unfair that this deck kind of shits on stack decks and things that would want to recover, things that would need Tamers. But you can delete like very easily 7 play cost worth of Tamers. That is like unbelievable. That is like a 3-cost Tamer and a 4-cost Tamer, or like a 4-cost Tamer and a Digimon. Like if you go into this on your turn out of raising, you say you put it back so much that it's almost impossible for them to contest your Galactic. So this card is unbelievable, and I would never play less than 4. This card is also very, very good, and it's sort of like your answer to things that would theoretically have a good matchup into you. It gives you Sorcerer protection and the Digivolve protection, which is like unbelievable. Magnamon, yeah. Black decks that would on paper be like good into this deck, not anymore because you have this fucker. And if you never, like if you don't end on Galactic and you sit on this, he then plays out a thing from the source. So ideally when you're making a source, when you're stacking your Veemons, you kind of want to have a little bit of variety. And the reason why you want variety is because you want to have all possible options to play with the Destro, but also you want to be able to shuffle these back into the deck and have a variety of them. So then you can stack your deck and then, oh, I know that like I'm more likely to draw into the add back, and that gets me back into playing the game. So super neat. Very, very good card. The ESS is also very good. It's why this deck has an incredible like armor matchup. Being able to negate an attack is better than redirect, because sometimes they're just bigger than you. You can just like end the attack. And you can also, the effect is not conditional on you being on a Galactic, so if you can load it off of something like, let's say, a Fusionize, and you end on a different Destro, you can just like shuffle 2 to end an attack. And that's like something that generally comes up. So that's it for the Destros. Only 7. Some people play less. I would not play less. This deck is 50 cards that say Veemon in text, and that's why the deck is good. For the big ship itself, main rarity deck, but I did have 3 all cards. You know, mixed rarity, you know the vibes. This card is also kind of unfair. When it's evolving, you just get to cast Ragnarok from hand or trash, so as long as you usually want to cast it from trash if you can, to keep the ones in hand for situations where like you just need to like cast a removal spell. And then obviously you have the instance of protection, and start of main, unconditionally you get to pop whatever you want. So it catches a lot of people off guard because they'll keep playing around Ragnarok and play like little guys, but then you can just get rid of their big guy with just the start of main. Super insane card. 14k, it's massive, and like it just does everything. Being able, its removal being conditional on the option is not that much better than the old one, because the old one required you to have X amount of Veemons, whereas this is just you need to pick up 4 cards in turn, so it's a little bit faster. Yeah, card's really good. It just wins the game. For a card that doesn't win the game, but a card that lets you grind a lot, is Fusionize. 3 is enough, I think. You just have to be kind of good at like managing your resources. If you play 4, you end up in scenarios where like you keep revealing it too early, or you keep like you keep trashing in scenarios you don't want to trash it, and then like it can sometimes screw your security because it's affecting securities. It makes you mill 3, so sometimes you can randomly deck out, especially in the mirror, which you think you don't have to play the Galactic mirror, but in the locals when 3 people have the deck, you will end up playing the mirror. But yeah, Fusionize is one of your recovery cards, and you kind of just have to time it when to use it. Typically, I like to play more greedy, like I don't like to spend resources to make lines more efficient, because I'm already control deck with the inevitability. I'd rather have the ability to crack back and just constantly like pressure my opponent. So avoid using this card to choke is basically what I'm saying, and use it wisely when you need to get back into the game. Now, for the card that wins the game, this card is unbelievable. First of all, incredibly efficient. With costing 6 is very specific in this deck, but because you have a mem setter, you pass your opponent 3 to just like Gaia Force something, which is kind of crazy. It makes the opponent constantly play around it for the entire turn, and the security effect is really busted. It lets you play a play cost of 6 or less, so you can either play things like the Searcher's Match to then search and then attach things to your Galactic, or you get to play all your Tamers from your trash, which is also very, very good. And obviously it wins the game. Burns everything except for 1, and that's like more enough to go for game. So the scenarios that I usually go for game, you think because you have the block and suspend, you can just go for game that way, but that is sort of like awkward sometimes and also rigid. I would much rather just promote a Veemon from Nursery and then swing, do all of my damage, and then swing the rookie for game. That is typically how I go for game. Instead of trying to tunnel vision on the OTK combo, you just make your deck worse than everything else when you naturally have like a kill line. So yeah, don't play less than 4. Again, I've seen people play less than 4, do not. And the reason why I keep saying this is because people put cards that are just worse than what you already have access to. Yeah, you can play scrambles and trainings, but they are not cards with Veemon and text. You'll screw you over in scenarios where in the early game you either need to reveal something with text, or you want to have things in text in the trash. They are very nice, and like that would be maybe my 51st card, or if I had a sideboard I would maybe play like scrambles, but realistically 50 Veemon texted cards is just better. So finally we have the world champ himself, Zenith 2 and 4. At first it's very tempting to do like a 3-3 split, but the more you play the deck, the more you understand that this is the best turn 1 play that you have in the deck. Just passing your opponent for 4 and having him center for the rest of the game is unbelievable. He either adds or plays out a Veemon and then trashes the rest, so that's already 2 cards in your trash for your 4-card win con. And then if you're playing either a Searcher Vam, like either of the Searcher Vams feels like really good. If you play the add back, you can just trash it, and that's 3 cards in trash. Unbelievable. Like this is the most amount of tempo that you can get, and often the games that you lose are because you didn't see him at a critical time. This Zenith is kind of cool. On paper, he does like a bunch of nifty things, like things that are unaffected by Digimon. You can just do Digimon with him. He triggers your unsuspend, so you can like do your OTK combo, and the memory is nice. This card is very, very nice, but I will never play it on an empty board over this. It's just a lot slower. Back in like 2.0, when you only had this guy, yeah, it would make sense to play 4. But this is just by far so much better. It is cute and it does help you like in a bunch of matchups, but realistically, you just want this. This is the guy. This is the world champ. This is like, he's climbing the bracket, I guess. And then for the Tama, you can play the Dorumon or the Dorimon to draw a card, which is like, yeah, cool, whatever, in your deck that like already filters for like 7 cards like for like no effort. Or you can play 3 KDP. Being 17k makes a huge difference. For Royal Knights, I basically put someone like Show Me Alpha plus something else, and you just contest the Omni-X like really easily because you're 17, and you can just like redirect or you can block or whatever, and it makes it like super problematic for them to deal with. And because it's a Tama that it has Veemon in text, it's a card in the trash, so you can then load it and then, let's say like you promote a Veemon, they pop it or whatever, that's 2 cards in trash, whereas the Dorimon doesn't do that. And you can pick up multiple copies of it. I don't really have a matchup where I would want to be like 20k, maybe Sakuya.
Magna late game.
Which one?
Magna late game.
But you just end the attack, so it's like it doesn't...
The DP minus that.
Yeah, I suppose, like with the DP minus stuff, it can come up, but because you have the ability to choose to do that, it's just better than playing the direct card. So that was it for the deck. Matchups on the day were Digimon, which was really, really stressful. This deck, like I said, you'll go up against a rogue deck, and whether you win or lose will dictate the rest of your day. So I was able to be Digimon, so I got to play against all of the decks that I would want to play. I played against Medusa, bottom end, Digimon top end, simple stack deck that does not have crackback, so you kill their stack, and then it's like, okay, you don't have an out to Galactic plus Ragnarok. Hunters is pretty easy because you can delete an amount of Tamers, and you set them back way too much for them to ever get to play the game. I played against Dorbik, which is unbelievably scary. That is one of the few decks that can contest you by killing you before you get a chance to play the game. Everything else you can kind of check what they're doing. Dorbik just has random high roll, and people are like, oh, it's not a meta deck. You can play against it and tell me how easy it is. Play the mirror. It's like the mirror sucks because you're not playing Digimon. You're playing like a board game, and I was better at the board game than my opponent. Shout out to Balfi. And then last round was Armour, which is like a match that I've played a million times over, and most of the time you just, as long as you find end of attack Destro, or end attack Destro, you basically floodgate their Magna from being able to reproc. He puts them on show me a way to unsuspend your own Magna. As long as you're dealing with the Tamers early on and contesting their things appropriately, you'll eventually snowball into a position where it's very difficult for them to get back to playing the game. They have to play specific decks to deal with you. If they're on Heavens, then it's oh, okay, you might be fucked. But if you're not on Heavens, you're pretty much okay. That was pretty much it. 6 rounds undefeated. Shoutouts to everybody that tested with me. Big shoutouts to my coach, obviously Huang. He taught me how to play the deck, and he gave me the listing. He was like, all right, go cook. I was like, yeah, sure, bro. And then obviously shoutouts to, again, Infinity for, basically Infinity was the one that came up with the draft and then passed it to us. And he won the OC Regional, which is a much more impressive achievement. And like I said, he's going to have his masterclass, so watch that if you actually want an in-depth, hour-long movie about the deck. But yeah, Misplay for Game, invite secured a 1 of 3. Now those guys just gotta get theirs. Tom was pretty close, Andrew was pretty close. They know they can do it, okay? Misplay for Game at Euros.